tell us more about this picture. Hello everyone, and welcome again to my channel, Diaspora Journeys with Patricia. Today I am privileged to have a gentleman based in the United States of America in the city of Chicago. He is a gentleman I believe every person, every African within or outside the diaspora needs to listen to, because not only has he done fantastic things, he is very connected to the continent. He wants to make the continent better. So you are the president and the CEO of Seed Group. What is it that the Seed Group does? Who is the Seed Group?
Okay, great. Another introduction. I serve as the leader for Seed Group, which is based here in Chicago. It's actually officially known as Seed Group Chicago. It's an LLC corporation that is based here. The primary arm of our business does international travel. And this is where Kenya comes into context. We promote international travel with a greater emphasis on Africa, and Kenya gets the cash cow. Most of our trips, just like airlines, and start from Kenya. They go to Tanzania, they go to Uganda, they go to Rwanda, they go to South Africa. So we've made it that Kenya is a hub of our international group. The South America, China, Australia, they must have something Kenyan in them. So our travel business has really transformed itself from a traditional tour operations to what we call now consulting travel. That is being able to engage people to travel, working with them, fitting into their interest, and being resourceful in being an expert in any given destination. So we don't take trips that we don't have ground information, we don't have knowledge about that. The second arm of our business is actually in media communications. We specialize also in being able to provide our customers with the ability to communicate complex information in very simple ways, and sometimes complex ways, depending on what kind of media need do you have. So that straddles across all platforms, online, print, and whatever that entails communication. That's where the media communications consulting comes in as well. So we do have consulting, which goes hand in hand. In fact, consulting tends to be the big umbrella, because we're consulting in travel, we're also consulting in media communication. So those are the main areas that our business focuses on. And again, we have Africa as our backbone and most of the services we provide as far as Chicago.
Fantastic. Now, Mr. Ogeto, I'm sure there's somebody wondering, how did you get to where you are? Where did it all start? Because making it as a CEO in the US is not an easy affair. So how did this journey start? If you can just give us a brief on your exiting Kenya and how you got to where you are.
Okay, a lot of people always are wowed when they go like, oh my God, how did it all begin? Well, any beginnings have this humbleness, that humility. I am born, like I said, I was born in Kenya, raised in Kenya, went to school in Kenya, graduated in Kenya, worked in Kenya. So I believe it all begins in Kenya. And I had the privilege of getting an internship, what they call in training at Pullman's. That was the only company I worked for in Kenya. I interned with them, and I had the privilege to work there for exactly 1 year. And during that 1 year, I was doing my work, and I happened to cross paths with the president of a college here in the United States. That gentleman by the name of Dr. John B. Dove, God bless his heart, he passed on 2012, was very intrigued with my encounter with him, and he thought I was a smart young man, and he told me that he would love to extend me a unique opportunity. When I pursued further, he told me, if you can make your way in Chicago, I'll give you a free ride. I didn't know what that meant, but I came to realize later that he had pretty much given me a challenge, and it was a really simple one. Getting my way to Chicago, I would get a full scholarship. And truth be told, I did not mince my words by saying I will. And within a period of 90 days, I had Pullman's issue me a rebate ticket, which was like $500 round trip. Came to Chicago to find for myself what did this really mean, and I was prepared to come back. So I came, and lo and
let
behold,
me just cut you short there, because it's good for the viewers to hear that it's not that because that you came from a rich background that took you to the US. Your opportunity came while you are at work. You were just doing your job, being great with your guests, and voila, somebody was like, okay, I'll give you a scholarship. That opened doors for you to be in Chicago.
Exactly. And this is very important for people to know that you don't always have to have a connection. You don't always have to be rich. You don't always have to be strategically positioned. No, it goes back to you as a person, your own moral compass, your integrity, your dedication to what you do. That speaks volumes beyond yourself. You could be in the middle of Kitui doing your work, and the Pope will come and find you in Kitui. Yeah. You could be somewhere in Kisumu, rural area in Kisumu, and guess what? Jesus will come and find you there. So you don't have to be somehow say, I need to be in the middle of Jerusalem. That's where Jesus is coming. No, God is with all of us everywhere in the world. So every day you wake up, you gotta commit yourself to doing the best you can, regardless of circumstances and where you are. People have to come to this realization that we have to hold ourselves as individuals to higher standards. You know, I've realized that there are Kenyans who do exceptional work in Kenya. Yeah. They're not corrupt because they don't subscribe to corruption. They do what is right. They deliver services, and we work together. We do great things. There's somebody somewhere who's sitting, oh, this country is corrupt. And you actually fuel corruption because you want shortcuts. How would it be that you didn't wake up early to be first in the line? You come in the middle of the day and you want to bribe your way to skip all those people who came in earlier just because you feel entitled. I'm connected. Those are the moral questions that people need to ask themselves in terms of getting to where they need to get.
So you get to Chicago, you start your university. Then what?
Yes, I do my work. I exactly do what I'm preaching. I get to do my studies. Like I said, I was given a 4-year scholarship. He thought I needed an undergraduate, but I'd already finished my diploma. So what I did is I was able to transfer most of my Kenya Utalii College credit hours. They translated into actually buying me time off college. So within a year and a half, I was able to have my undergraduate. So I got in 94 September, right? 1996, I was done with my undergraduate. He was like, wow, Simon, I gave you a 4-year scholarship. So what do you want to do? I said, I maybe go to graduate school. So he said, well, where do you want to go to grad school? I said, business school. So I applied at the University of Chicago and started the process. And then in the course of my interview for admission, they asked me, why do you want to come to the University of Chicago? I told them I want to still run my own business. He said, well, at the University of Chicago is an Ivy League. You gotta just tell us you want to become a VP of Procter & Gamble and whatever. I said, That's not what I want to do. I just want to be in a company of great minds. And that kind of turned me off. So I came back and I was like, do I really need to go to an Ivy League school to do this? I said no. So then the president's daughter also came from Boston. And he was like, what do you guys want to do? I said, well, we can do something in media management. So he said, well, Columbia offers such a great program over here. In no minute, we enrolled. So within a span of 4 years, I was able to have 2 degrees, an undergraduate and a graduate. So I completed my master's in media management in the arts and in 1998. And again, I really had it easy because Kenya prepared me for hard work. So things looked a little easier. And so excelling wasn't it was something not so sophisticated to actually do well. So, and when you do well, people always want to be associated with you. When you're doing poorly, nobody wants you around. So I got the privilege to actually design my own job. And
which job was this?
I wrote my job description. I said, the international students need help. So we need an advisor. So that was very interesting. So then he had told me you could become an assistant director at the resident center, but I said, I think I want to be an advisor for international students so I can help recruit more students and look out for them, because I, as an international student, realized there were so many needs. So he told me, fine, go ahead and write your job description.
Let me get you a little bit on that, because especially we Kenyans, we are very smart. I think, despite our system, 844 has been critiqued, the older system has been critiqued, but I think we are smart. However, in my experience, I've realized we are not very good at expressing ourselves and what we want. You say you wrote your job description. So would you advise the younger ones, those who are now coming to the US or any other diaspora, to be more vocal on asserting themselves?
Yes, that's very important. Expression is something Americans appreciate, and direct communication. That means if you show up, Patricia, and you're hungry, say, I'm hungry, I need food.
Yeah.
Don't start telling people, oh, I'm fine. And they lose sight of why you even came to see them.
True, and that is a Kenyan deficiency, if I may call it.
Talking about nothing which had to do with your hunger. And now I'm leaving, you tell me you're hungry, then it wasn't important. So that's one lesson I learned. Be direct, to the point, and also use the fewest words to express your problem. So don't complicate things, just keep them simple. Okay, and then you have to open up. Most people like keeping things under wraps. They think somebody's going to bewitch them, so they are very bright. They don't want to tell anybody they're bright. They just want to yeah, we're okay, And I remember back home when somebody would be like number one, and you meet somebody and they are like, how did the school perform? They're like, we don't know. And you're number one. So nobody will ever know you're the first best kid in town, because people feared these superstitious things which don't exist. So a lot of Kenyans come here, they are extremely gifted, but they don't tell anybody they got all these gifts. So what happens is that, people look around and they look for something from somewhere. And I remember one time my supervisor telling me, Simon, you do great things, but when you come to meetings, you sit there quietly until somebody has to come in and say, Simon, tell us more. Those who progress here to their own horn, they say what they have done, and they say so colorfully, so simply, that everybody's following them. And then here you are saying, oh, this person just came in the other day, got a promotion. This person just came in the other day, got a pay raise. But what are you doing yourself?
We need to be bold, assertive, bold. Go for what you believe you want. Don't shy. Say it as it is.
Just adapt, be quick, be able to know how to work things out, and if you can do that, I think life will be very easy. So again, the world has become very global. What happens in a small place as Saikuru in Ukambani has a huge impact on what happens in the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
So for that reason, there is no reason why we shouldn't adapt to circumstances. And nobody's telling you gotta lose your Kenyanness. You will always be a Kenyan. But I always advise this: be formless, be like water. You can feed any cup, but you will always remain water. So
be
that's
like
really,
water, be like water, viewers. You can fill any cup. I like what Symon you're saying, because in these ages of technology and globalization, you really have to, change form to adopt. So I really like that.
Yep. So that's my story, if that helps. I mean, there's more, but I think that's good enough given the amount of time that we
now,
have.
going through your profile, I saw something to do with Kiswahili workshops. What are these? What are Kiswahili workshops?
So this is very interesting, and I will advise this actually to Kenyans, those Kenyans who take Swahili for granted. Swahili has been able to feed me, do a whole lot of stuff for me. And this is something that nobody will ever take away from you. It's like being a Kenyan. So speaking the language of Swahili is actually a walking stick for anybody who has East African origin. So what happens is that the American legal system requires that if you have somebody in court who does not speak English as their native language, must by law be provided with a translator, an interpreter.
Wow.
So if Symon, who happens to be from Kenya, had an issue with court system, Patricia will be hired to be a translator, even though I speak English. By law, you're required. So that's easy money. Number two is hospitals. If I was sick, again, by law, if I do not speak English as my first language, you are provided somebody who speaks that language. So you enlist yourself as an interpreter, Swahili speaker, boom, that's business waiting for you. And then there are Americans who want to learn the language for the sake of travel. So they want to, when they land in Nairobi, to say Jambo, and Kenyan will feel very good about that. They also need these workshops. So the language of Swahili is a global language. And for those who are shying away from speaking the language because they don't see value in it, they don't speak English, when you get to college, you'll be like, it will earn you credit because you can do a project in respect to something you have command of authority over. There you go. So we do offer these workshops as part of our travel promotion. So any group that is traveling to East Africa, prior to them traveling, we will go ahead and offer 1 to 3 workshops free of charge for them to be able to, get a crash course on the language and what they really need. And then, of course, we have workshops for our young people. I have 2 wonderful children. We teach them the language. In fact, there's a girl who just came to Northwestern, and I told her I'm gonna pay her to teach my kids Swahili. So Swahili is a very, very important language, not only to ourselves, but if it can earn you money, why not?
Wow. So if you are an East African and you find yourself in the USA, Kiswahili chaweza kakupatia namna ya kuishi. You can be a translator, you can teach it. There are opportunities in Kiswahili. So the young ones in school, do not dismiss it. It could be your ticket to a good life, to a foundation in the USA. Oh my goodness, that I didn't know, Symon. I didn't know such a thing exists. Wow.
We have a lot.
You have a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot in just simple things. So
what happens? There are Kenyans who come there and they say there is no opportunity or life is hard. What is the problem?
Yeah, life is very hard in America. There's no question about it. It's actually harder to live in America than to live in Kenya. I always advise, especially after 9/11, if you don't have the connections, you don't have the capacity to survive here, go back home. Otherwise, you can die. easily. You can die in this country just simply because the system is hardened. It has no leeway. So if you don't have water and you didn't pay the bill, that water will not be cut on. If you don't have food, you must have money to buy food, and all the money, not just a bit of it, because there's no room for somebody to help you and say, oh, I helped Simon with a loaf of bread, and you only came in with $3 instead of $4. No, the system will not allow you cash out that bread unless it's paid in full.
So are you saying,
yes,
Symon, are you saying that we are better off in Africa than in the US? By
far. And we are, and I hate to say this, if there is a wish I had, and I still have, is to get a flight ticket for all Kenyans, for the entire continent of Africa, to just come out to the Western world for just 2-3 days. They will come back and never want to go anywhere. Because just imagine, in this city, sometimes it's -20 and you have to go work. A point that you can't even open your own eyes. Your tears turn into ice. You gotta dress up, go to work. The climate is very, very, very severe. And then, just like I've told you, if you don't have what it takes to survive, you pretty much have a hard stop. And here we have beautiful weather. You literally get a lot of help. How many people are housing cousins and blah, blah, blah? And all we do is eat and sleep. People are usually asleep by 7:30, 8 o'clock. You call and they're like, oh, I must sleep. And they sleep for 10 hours, there's nothing wrong about that. But the bottom line is that you have the perfect conduits to be able to do exceptionally well. What lacks home, and that's what we need to help each other do, is an infrastructure, systems that connect you from start to finish. You give people, these graduates who leave high school, they can't go to college, and you don't provide exit opportunities. Yes, life can be very awkward, and that's what it is right now. You've got people who went to school and they have graduated and they don't see the need of that education because they were trained to look for jobs. They were not trained to create jobs. And even if they created a job, nobody will buy your product. Instead, they're buying products from America. You see what I'm saying? So there needs to be leadership in so many facets.
Very good. You're talking of leadership because I think this is the biggest African problem, leadership. Do you think, or what do you think can be done? Because the governance is our weakest link. The people are hardworking, we've got the resources, but the governance is failing us. What do you think can be done to make this situation better?
A lot of things we need to start talking. We need to start talking and talking sense, not handouts. This is a political year for Kenya. Yeah. And I'm told that people get paid to show up for these lotteries. They get paid for 500 shillings. They come over. So they really didn't come to listen to what is it this leader is gonna do for them. They came to be paid. So long as you pay, they'll show up and they'll shout as loud as they need to. This has been the vicious circle of our quote unquote democracy. So people are not really listening to what is it that this leader is trying to project to us. You do not need a politician to wake up in the morning and go to your garden and prune those the tea or harvest your pineapples, go to a market and get your honest money and go home and buy yourself anything you want. You do not need a member of parliament to tell you that you need to landscape your house, clean it up, look decent, groom yourself up, and go out there and say, this is what I want to do. So everything has really been turned to be like his politicians who do that. Yeah. Roads cannot be fixed by the community. Instead, they turn around and say, Mheshimiwa, our road is flooded. So there needs to be a conversation, some level of engagement, and it has to start at the grassroots level, where you and I are talking and saying, how do we make this show the best show in town? See the point? You and
Yes.
I, because there is no destruction of a politician coming in, everything's stopping. No, when we do that, we start working towards that, we will probably get further and more solid than if you had a celebrity come over and disrupt everything, because they steal the show from you.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, because if those in the diaspora can even start conversations in their own circles of influence, their families.
Okay, this is something I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and there was this culture of like, don't engage into politics, stay away from politics, just do your thing. And then what happened while the people say don't engage into politics, the wolves came in and they called shots. They did everything they needed to do because people withdrew and did not want to be involved. What they didn't understand is that these very wolves are the ones who would write policy. So then come late 1990s and 2000, people woke up. Politics is everything, and politics is local. So you can no longer afford to tell me, Patricia, that you do not want to know who your member of parliament is, who your councillor is, who your MCA is. You need to know who your chief is, sub-chief, even your headsman. You need to know who these people are, because when they are sitting in a kikao, they'll make decisions that are going to impact you for years, whether they change one little thing, or we require an ID for this. That happens because you are absent. You've shied away to say, oh, sijiingize kwa siasa. So things kind of really change. So that's one of the things that America has really taught me. Being part of the local school council at the school, the PTA equivalents there. That's where policies are made. That's where regulations are made. Being able to know who picks your garbage, who takes your son to school, your maid, what they're going through. All these things do make a difference. So when you say the diaspora needs to engage our folks at home, we will, but look at the distance. If I've been here for 5 years, 10 years, I have no clue who's going to run for office. But it has to be a mutual conversation where you tell, oh, this is somebody. I can tell you somebody who you don't like, because that person doesn't give you what you need every day. So, and then I've come to campaign in Kenya for 2 different campaign seasons. And I've come to realize our people are so gullible. They are so gullible because of poverty, so they don't see beyond. In fact, somebody will come over and tell you, I'm going to give you my 100 shillings right now. If you don't vote for me, you're cursed. They go ahead and vote for the devil, because it scared them with superstition of being cursed and all that kind of stuff. So somebody go ahead and say, hey, I don't want to be cursed, so I'm going to vote for him. You see the point?
Yeah.
Literally, they are both. They don't, people don't, and I don't blame them. It's the circumstances and what has been created around them that makes the situation very complicated. So, yes, the diaspora would love to do a lot from a remote sense. But remember this, people have to take ownership of their lives. And they are, and I've seen that. This needs to continue and become better. And then you can get all the support. If you start it, more likely you will succeed. If you don't, you see what I'm saying? It
You
can be a
lose
little
it.
complicated. Yeah,
no, I understand.
Becomes,
I get what you're saying. The diaspora is out there. We are here. And my point is, I mean, the diaspora, with your circle, you have those people you connect with back home, be it your grandmother in the village you call once in a while. You are enlightened. They are not. You can tell them, Mami, when you are voting this time, tafuta mtu ako na maendeleo, achana na hiyo 100 unapewa. You know, this is the context I'm saying, you know, in your own small way, because not everybody will access this show, you know, we have to be, not everybody will access it.
We are doing it. Yeah, we are doing it. And that's good news to let you know that the diaspora is even, you know, if you have something and you're on social media, we want to know more about what you're going to do in my mother's village. And in the process, yeah, we are engaging. I think we should do more of this. And let's find a new partnership between the diaspora and our people at home.
Yes,
There
that
is a huge,
connection.
we need to forge a new partnership that is independent of the assumption that you're one of us. Because we are actually two different people who need to form a friendship and that we're working, as opposed to like, you are one of us, so you should not misbehave by making us work like Americans. Instead, we should be able to turn around and say, wait a minute, it's kind of like when you get married, you forge a new partnership with your spouse family. You don't assume they look like you. You start moving in a new way. So that is pretty much what I think is very, very important, to come to that level of consciousness. And don't overlook anything. Let's go ahead and say, yeah, there's a problem. Use the same template you use to solve problems anywhere in the world. Use the same approach you would take if you met a stranger. Because a lot of times we speak to each other, but we are not listening to each other. Because we are like, those are Kenyans, wanapiga kelele, hawa ni vinyambulika, and stuff like that. So we need to start being able to say, oh, Patricia, wow, I like what you just said. Tell me about yourself. The moment we start listening and getting to know each other, then we bring in respect. Then we're actually opening our ears. Then look at how our grown women are treated at home. It's right there. I mean, these are our daughters. These are our sisters. The way the men relate to women is very disrespectful. Yet, if somebody told you that I'm going to disrespect your mother, you're going to kill them. But your mother was one time a daughter.
Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line? Yeah, how would you disrespect some lady in Nairobi that for her to get a job, she needs to succumb to ABCD? What if your mother was subjected to that? Would you see? So that's the level of consciousness we need to bring to each other. When you're seated across a gentleman and ask him, put yourself in this context. Would you want to be treated the way you want to treat me? Pause for a minute and think about that. The same way, you politicians, would you like us to turn the tables and treat you the way you're treating us? People start thinking. People start looking at things differently. So that level of heightened consciousness needs to be the next big deal, and it's priceless. You don't need money to do this. You just need to do exactly what you and I are doing.
Just start talking. And I think someone will have many conversations, because your inputs are really in the direction I wish that everyone was taking in terms of making Africa better. We need to address all these biases that exist between the genders, between them and us, diaspora and local. It's a lot of biases that are there, and we need to start talking. So we'll have another conversation. Let's talk about your affiliation, Symon. I see you're affiliated with the Africa Global Commerce, Africa Political Action Committee. What are these? And
the African Global Chamber of Commerce was forged to be able to help foster trade and commerce between continental USA and Africa. That's really the whole premise. We want to support our farmers, bring in their cashews here. We want to also make sure that these little laptops can help our kids at home. So we just provide bridges to some things which are useful. We are not promoting dumping. We are promoting exactly what we are talking about. The world could coexist in a very beautiful way. We have communities that have received books, medical equipment that works, so that we are able to, find a way of empowering each other without this selfish mindset of we want to gain, we don't care about you. So that's what the chamber is really doing. The African political action, we realize that in this country, politics is very important. So in order for you to get the ear of the congressman, you got to support them, fundraise for them. So Political Action Committee was a way of Africans finding a foot in the door of their legislatures. So that when Africa is in trouble, we are like, hey, Mr. Congressman, you got our support and we are your constituents. So could you look at what's happening in Ethiopia? Then they will listen, because in this country, the voice that is the loudest is one that can get you out of office.
Okay,
and
great. Now, you're talking of legislature. And
yes.
There's something I saw, and maybe you can tell us more about this picture.
There you go. Yes. That is from, I don't know, you're seeing it, that's our senator from Illinois, the two senators from Illinois, Dick Durbin, who was a senior senator, and then on the opposite was our junior senator, Barack Obama, next to me. And then there's my wife, and then these three other folks that I took to Washington, because one of my responsibility at the time was to help with advocacy. That is, you advocate issues to your leaders. So we put a group of constituents from Illinois to go to Washington and present to our senators issues of international exchange programs. We wanted more international students, and this international needs to have A, B, C, D. So we used to do that every year to be able to make this happen. But one more important thing I want to say to conclude this is I had the privilege of meeting our former president here in Chicago. We actually brothers to each other. He calls me brother, I call him my brother. We got to know each other way before he became who he is today. And for that reason, he knew me by the time we did this trip. In fact, the office was very kind enough to tell me like, hey, come over and sit at your brother's office. So I had a chance to sit at his chair and all the kind of stuff. So story short, I introduced Senator, then State Senator Barack Obama to our community of Kenyans here in Chicago. And I had the privilege to also introduce Obama to Kenya through a story that got done back in Martin Luther King Day of 2003, even though 2004. So he had asked me to fundraise for him, and I thought that the best way to do a fundraiser for him was to reach Kenyans through Kenya, because Kenyans read newspapers in Kenya. So I did a story through one of my friends, and it got published, and we were able to campaign for him when he ran for the US Senate. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of correspondence from a slew of Kenyans who knew his father. And because there were so many emails, he just said, Simon, you take care of all those emails. So I'm here to sit down with him and give him his cache of emails from back in 2004. But I had the privilege of calling him a brother and a friend. And he came to us. He asked to be what I just said. If you tell people what you want, they'll give it to you. He asked me for help. I helped him, and he became a senator, and he became president. So if you don't tell people what you want, don't expect much, because they don't know what you want.
True.
So we are very proud of him and what he has been able to do, not only for the state of Illinois, but as a Kenyan, I feel very proud to know him. And in fact, because of my involvement with this campaign and the birth of my daughter, I chose to become a US citizen, because I said, if my daughter is an American and was to run for office, then I need to vote for Barack Obama. And that really changed the dynamics of my global view. So very, very happy moment. In fact, that's one of my beautiful highlights in my diaspora involvement with our people. And Barack Obama, the president, makes us so proud as Kenyans.
No, fantastic. Really, Mr. Ogeto, I'm so honored that you spared your time this early morning. And I understand you have to dash because to serve the community. As you said, you've lost a Kenyan over there and you have to attend to those matters. So I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your input, and I'm sure anyone taking time to listen will get something from you. From this conversation, I'm sure it's not in vain. So asante sana, and let's keep the conversations. And if anyone wants to reach you, Symon, just before you go, how can they reach you?
Well, you can, I'm on Twitter, and my email is simon.ogeto@gmail.com. That's personal email, which is really good. I think that's kind of helpful for now. You should be able to Google me up. You should be able to find my name somewhere, but simon.ogeto@gmail.com probably is the most direct way of reaching out to me. And our business is seedchicago.com. You should be able to see what we do. And again, I'm looking forward to coming back so we can finish this conversation. We have a lot, and I want to do the best I can to make sure that your show is great, and vice versa. I'm looking forward to you to make me great. We can make each other great. What about that?
We work together. We're going to work together, and I'm sure a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and we've taken the step. So it's we're getting to the destination. So asante sana, Symon. Please rush to your matters, and we'll talk again.